good morning, and welcome to another edition of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. Hey, this show was originally created from one of the more than 300 motivational quotes I had created for the contents of my books. And with studying human behavior for over 40 years, I was always curious how one word or a quote landed on one person. Are these words that just landed on a page, or were there a conversation to be had? So I got together a couple of friends. I got my co-host here, Carol McCoy, my other co-host, Denise Lopes, and the voice of our show, Mr. Otis Spencer. And we talked about these quotes and we created this show. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is probably the only podcast or format that our general audience is welcome to participate. We always say come in with a positive attitude because that's all we do. This is an RMK Production and 10 United Podcast Network. Our mission is through the power of your story to uplift, or to inspire you, create experience and perspectives, focusing on creating a framework that teaches, allows you to learn and model. Our purpose is hope, helping other people every day. Again, this is a great show. We're excited to be here. We're coming on holiday weekend or week to come. Hopefully everyone's safe. We're going to do something special today. We're going to go beyond just our words. One of our co-hosts, Miss Denise Lopes, has just released her latest book. We're going to allow her to talk about her book, promote her book, and also maybe if we're lucky, she'll read a couple of things from her book. This is the kind of podcast we have. Collaboration is king. No one can do this one thing alone. And believe it or not, my success is your success and yours is mine. So we need to stop becoming separate and become as one. No matter what we're doing, we need to support each other. Don't just hit an emoji, a hashtag, or like, whatever. Write a comment like Mr. Harold McCoy said, let your voice be heard. So with that said, I'm going to turn this over and to a voice that's much more powerful and sexier than mine. He's going to get delivered a quote today. Mr. Otis Spencer, the voice of our show. Do your thing, man.
Happy Sunday, grand rising, everyone.
Grand rising.
This morning's quote is, live your life at failing at something you love doing, over living your life working at something you hate doing.
All right. Wasn't prepared for that quote, but that's all right. Live your life failing at something you love doing, over doing something. I forget the second half of the quote. What was the second half of that quote again?
Over living your life working at something you hate doing.
Wow. Harold McCoy. This is a man that's making a difference here on the East Coast. He is uplifting and inspiring our young people in the community. How does this quote land on you, sir?
This quote brings a number of other quotes to mind, which all are in the same family. Kanye West once said, everyone is alive, but not everybody lives. Also, I've heard this somewhere on TV, get busy living or get busy dying.
Yeah.
And it just kind of reminds me of that quote, live your life failing at something you love doing. The challenge with that is the average person does not know what they love to do. And if they do know what they love to do, they just don't know how to translate that into an occupation or an income or a means of survival. So oftentimes people get up, go to that place they hate to go to, and then they come home and they do the hobby that they love. And I've come to learn that in this day and age, in these times, you can make a fortune off of your hobby. You can make a living off of your hobby. You can get by. You could generate an income off of your hobby. And usually hobbies is something, nobody's going to do anything that they don't love to do without being paid for it. That makes it a job. But when you're doing something that you love to do, you have found your passion. And within your passion lies all the energy and everything that you need to be successful. The universe will feed you everything. Doors will open. Harps will begin to play. When you can identify your passion and you delve into it with all that you have. Or you can get up and go make a living with that job that you have. And I mean, look, we do what we do to get by on this planet until it's finished. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a job, getting up, going to work. Nothing wrong with it. Somebody has to drop the French fries at McDonald's. I'm not going to go back behind the counter and do it. So somebody has to do it. Whether they like it or not, somebody has to do it. Most people do it because they like the reward at the end of the week, but they don't like what they're doing. And this quote just simply reminds me of, we all have something in us that we have a passion for. Find it. And it's best to find it young. I look at Denise and I see age on her side. She has, you have a lot of upside, a lot of space on the top to continue to, if you have not found your passion, to find it and then to manifest. But it's important that young people identify, or it's important that when you're young to identify your passion, what you love to do. What is it that you would do even if they didn't pay you for it? What is it that you toss and turn at night? You can't wait to get up the next morning. You just can't, we can't sleep because you're going to do this one thing tomorrow. What is that? And when you find that, I don't see it to be failing, but when you find that, do whatever it takes to make that work and spend your life at making that thing that you can't wait to go do. Spend your life making that thing work. That's my suggestion. Or you have an option. The alternative is go to work. Go drop those fries. Go to get those carts out of Target. Or I'm just using as an example of an employment, a job. Go get a job and live your life working at something you hate doing. That's the option.
All right. No true words spoken by an independent entrepreneur that Mr. McCoy is. He's making a difference in his community. He's doing what he loves every single day, pouring into the hearts and minds of not just his community, but the world through his voice. And thank you for that share. It's funny. A couple of years ago, we shut down. The whole world shut down. We had COVID. When we came out 2 years later out of COVID, over 50% of people that had worked for someone else started their own businesses. And I think this quote is right in line with what happens when you wake up in the morning. When you wake up and your vision is clear, do those things that you love doing, even if it doesn't give you the outcome, as long as you love doing. I wrote a book called Indispensable Games of X's and O's, everything I learned about life I learned playing high school football. I'm going to tell you, I would have played that game for free. I did play that game for free. So I love playing that game. So with that said, with this quote, we're going to see on the softer side of the table here, this is the cool side of the pillow, Denise Lopes, our poet, as we know it, our educator, and the champion of children, Denise Lopes. How's this quote land on you? And by the way, she is going to be our featured guest today.
Oh God, you put me on the spot right there. Good morning,
buddy.
everybody. Happy Sunday. For me, this quote goes back to the teaching. For me, it was hard to pass one of the educators' tests, the ESL. I was able to do the communication literacy, pass my Spanish test, my Portuguese. But the ESL, what I really wanted to do, the one I had passion for, because I'm an ESL kid. I learned English when I came to this country at 14. So I wanted to give back. And that was the hardest test to do. And I failed it multiple times, failed it. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I can't do this. And for some reason, God kept telling me, this is your calling. This is what you're supposed to do. keep at it. And it took me years to pass it. And it was just amazing because I kept failing. I kept failing. I'm like, and I kept learning because I would know like why I was doing this. So for me, I kept going back. Why? Why do I want to be a teacher? Why am I doing this? Um, and it was like I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't want to go to a job. And during the summer, I tried to do other jobs, and I hated it. I worked at the airport, and I hated it because it was so much. It was too much work. I worked at the factories. I worked at the like McDonald's and stuff. I worked at Dunkin' Donuts, not at McDonald's. It was like just stressful and people screaming at you all the time. And I'm like, this is not for me. I went to school for something else. And for me, keep like the feeling, like feeling. I'm like, oh yeah, this is teaching me. This is teaching me something. So I became at the part for me. It was like I stopped saying why me and start saying what is this teaching me. So for the young people over there, like go back to your why. Go about why you want to do, why you passionate about something. And ask yourself, what is this here to teach me when you fail at something? Because when you're failing, that means you're not ready for what's coming next. Until you're ready to do what you're supposed to be doing, you will go through it. And for me, passing that test, and I passed it at the right time with the right people behind me too. That was another thing. Before, I didn't have anybody pushing me to do stuff. And after like, Denise, you are asset to the school. We need you. The students need you, and we'll support you at anything. I think that was too that helped me a lot because you have to know who's around you, the people you have backing you up. Because sometimes you're around people, they don't want you to succeed. They don't. And they're gonna keep pulling you down. So you need to figure out who's around you, who's there for you, and what's your passion. And always go back to your why.
I'm going to make this real simple. Reach one, teach one. DL. All right, all right. Otis, the voice. We're gonna do this a little prematurely because we got a special show today because we're gonna feature Miss Denise Slopes in her new book. But I want to go ahead and Otis, what is your take on this quote?
Okay.
Let's give the quote one more time. I want to hear that voice. Go
Absolutely.
ahead.
Live your life at failing at something you love doing over your life, over living your life working at something you hate doing. A few things come across my mind. Being an entertainer, someone that wants to be in sports, being a musician, is a very, very difficult job. Not everyone makes it. You know, I think back even during the days of high school, I was a very poor reader. I would constantly stutter, even reading. And the acting teacher or drama teacher that we had at that time, one of the things he said, you may be a poor reader, but once you know those words, you get up on stage and it's like you're reading it, you're doing the thing, you know, so don't give up. You're going to go to auditions and you're not going to get every single audition. It's a challenge. You're going to go, people will typecast you, the rest, thank you very much. So it goes back, you can't give up. You love doing it, so you strive to do your best to achieve what you love doing, even though you failed, but that failure can turn into success. And overliving something you hate doing, well, if you have to get that regular job, things that help you get to that regular job. I was one of the ones that worked at McDonald's for 3 years. You know, but one of the things that kept us together, we were a team. We worked together. We hung out together. We went out drinking, happy hour when they had happy hour at the time. That helps you get through doing some of the things you hate doing. So life is always going to be a challenge, but you have to find the way to make the best of it.
All right. And that's part of the key, or if not the key, finding a way to make the best of it. Everyone has to have a plan. Let me say this. When this quote landed on me, and I don't know where it came from, I won't claim to be original, but I remember a conversation with a good friend of mine, Les Brown. And let me rewind real quick. For those of you that get up every single day, that do the grind because that's how they pay the bills, whatever. I'm going to repeat what Mr. McCoy said. There is nothing wrong with doing a 9 to 5. Sometimes that 9 to 5 prepares you for what you really should be doing. And I too was an employee at McDonald's. I've been an employee for a lot of other people. And the reason why I'm not an employee for a lot of those people that I've left employment is because the reason why everyone else does, you feel like you're underappreciated. They don't acknowledge your value of your worth. They don't support plans. They dictate agendas that are not in line with yours. And they look at you as a asset, and that makes you a liability when you have a plan or you have a dream. You know, when I look at the first part of this quote, you know, live your life failing at something you love to do. I remember conversation I spoke to Les Brown yesterday, and he was telling me about he had actually found his birth mother. And telling me that story. But I also remember a story that he said that he was uneducable, as he would say. I don't even know if that's a word, because he had a learning disability, which I share the same space in my head, but it has not stopped me. And the fact that he said he didn't know anything else to do but talk. He says, you know, I love talking, so I might as well make a living at it. And so he talked and he talked and he talked and he talked. And if you Google him, 2.5 billion dollars that he's earned in speaking. The closest to him is 52 million. I think that's Tony Robbins or somewhere along that line. But Les Brown, when you talk about the godfather of the voice or the spoken word or motivational speaking, you can put a lot of other names up there, but the king looks like us, Les Brown. He is the motivator of motivator. And so when you love what you do, like Harold said, like Denise, everyone else says, you'll do it for free. And if you can find a way to make a living at it, you should be doing it over, showing up every single day, doing that grind, working and doing something you hate to do. And when you do something you hate to do, you know what that does to you? It takes away the best part of you. Rather be out there singing on the streets of the subways of Manhattan, New York, rather be standing in front of a crowd of 3 to 4 people sharing my story until I get an audience of 1,000 or tens of thousands, than sit there and punch in the clock for someone that doesn't even know my name. So when I look at that quote, what I say is believe in yourself. When I look at that quote, I say follow your dream. When I look at that quote, I say make no excuses for being an original version of you. And when I look at that quote, don't look for acceptance from anyone other than you. That's what I see when I look at that quote. And so let me turn back the hands of time, twist it back, and feature someone that is living her dream. Denise Lopes has just released her second book. Her first book was The Healing Through Poetry. It's the discovery of a life change. She's going to share her book. She's going to show you how to get your book. And if you're in a place that where you can't see light, I'm almost going to tell you there's a poem in there that will light a fire on a rainy day on the wettest piece of wood. It will get you hot. All right.
Okay. You sound like Naheem right now. And this is my second one. This one is in the Cape Verdean Creole. It's 2 different books, 2 different poems, because people think it's translated. But for me, I can't translate. I think it doesn't make sense to me if I translate my poetry. Um, English, I think I commanded more because I came when I was 14, but I still write in Cape Verdean Creole. So now it's a language because we have a dictionary. Before it was just a dialect. So people can learn it. Now they're teaching it. So as a course. Uh, but this was my first one. Dana's poem. Dana is my nickname. My family, that's what they call me. Healing through poetry. This was through my divorce. I went through a hard time when I divorced with 2 kids. So I always wrote, like I've been writing since I was a little kid. And my sister pushed me during COVID. She goes, you can publish. So I self-published this on Amazon. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and Walmart has it. And the other day I found another book company that has it that I didn't know because I Googled myself and I found all my information. I'm like, okay, I can find my name when I Google myself. So this, I was afraid at first because Cape Verdeans, they could be very judgy. I don't care about what people think about me because I know they don't pay my bills, they don't check on me, so they don't sign my check. That's what I think. But I was afraid because they could be very critical, like very like, and was personal. It was my emotions, everything that I went through. So, but it was received well. A lot of people liked it. So I have the second one because my family in Cape were like, we don't understand English, so you need to do it in Creole. I have about like 4 more books ready, but I just have to work on them and publish. But mostly it's going to be in English.
All right. Do you mind sharing one or two of your poems in there and explain to you the motivation
Yeah.
behind it and the why? And this is from which book?
This one. I'm going to do the ones in English
Healing.
because I don't know if people are going to understand the Cape
All right.
Verdean.
Healing through poetry. I know I found one I liked.
Yeah, I'll read that one for you. But this one, I wrote this one for my kids. This was an open letter to my children why I decided to get divorced. When I decided to leave, all I was thinking about was you, your happiness, your sanity, your childhood. Happy was a feeling I did not know existed anymore. I wasn't happy. I was lost. I was sad. My heart was broken. When I decided to leave, all I had in mind was you, my children, my life, my world, my everything. I was worried about your happiness, your well-being, your childhood. I knew you deserved better. I knew I had to give you something better. I was scared, don't get me wrong, but I needed to be brave for both of you. I wasn't happy. I was lost. I was sad. My heart was broken, but when I decided to leave my marriage, all I could think about was how I could make your life better. I didn't want you to hear the fights, to see me cry, to see me crumble, to see that I was made of broken pieces. My love for you was bigger than my pain. I knew I had to be strong. I knew I had to leave. All I could think about was your happiness, your sanity, your childhood, your life. You were the reason I decided to leave. I left to give you a chance at a better life, a healthy life, a happy life, filled with love and peace. I love you, Mom.
Right, all right, all right. Hand claps everywhere. Harold, how did that hit you?
It's rather it's rather deep. Um, you know, I will say that it's not something I can connect with intimately myself because I've never been married, never had to go through a divorce, never had to walk the walk you had to walk through. But in your description of it, it's profound, and that's a publication. That means that you have just shared some very intimate things with the world,
Yeah,
and
I
that
was
Yeah,
so afraid
that
of
takes
that.
courage. That takes
yeah.
courage. It takes a lot to look in the mirror and you know to spill your truths to share for the world. Myself, I'm a very personal, private person, and I feel information is disseminated on a need to know basis. And everything that you just said, I don't think nobody needs to know that. So, I applaud you. It really
Thank
takes a
you.
lot of heart, a lot of courage to do what you just did, and then read it to a group of men.
Otis,
Thank you.
Otis, Otis, how
I
do you
think
feel?
I think it's very beautiful. Great job. Uh, the only thing that it might remind me of is seeing my parents who
Yeah,
rarely got along together. They never divorced. They did get separated at one point in time. And something as a kid, I couldn't have been no more than, I want to say 6 or 7 years old. After they fought, my mother happened to ask, who do you love the best?
Oh,
That was very traumatic and still
yeah.
traumatic today. And my response was, I love you both.
You can never put a kid in that
That's right.
situation. Never.
You should never, never, never. I hope people realize that.
yeah.
And I know of a family that's doing that to their children. We don't learn much from when everything is going right. We learn the most from everything when it's going wrong. And this book is a direct reflection of how something can go wrong in your life, especially when you have a plan. And I think I shared a quote with everyone that says our life are shaped with plans we make, but what shapes our lives is how we act on that plan. And the act is the development of this gift of this book. Denise, thank you for sharing that with us. Can you hit us with one more? Do you have one more you can share?
I'll share two more. We have time, don't we? I
Yeah,
have the
we have
one
time.
that the last one. This was the last one for my book, and at this point, I was in a better place because I went through a lot for a long time. This it's basically the book, The Power of Healing. Losing myself was not my intention, but it became my destruction. Betrayed, undervalued, powerless, embarrassed. That's all I felt. I gave myself selflessly to a man who swore to be loyal, honest, faithful, my rock, my best friend, my lover, my backbone, my husband. Losing myself was not my intention, but it became my destruction. Today, my healing is complete. I am not angry. Hurt does not live in my heart anymore. There's no more resentment. I am happy. I feel alive. I am enough. I am worthy of love, loyalty, honesty, companionship. I am resilient. I am powerful. My broken pieces are back together. I am emotionally stable, at peace, in a better place. Healing brought my power back. I found myself again. I am whole.
Right. All right. Power to the people. See what happens.
Yeah.
There you go. Three kings, one queen. We're not standing on you. We're standing with you, beside you, and we're holding you up all day long. Way to go, Denise. Way to go.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna read the one you said this morning. You want
Yeah.
me to read that one?
Oh, yes. I
This
just want to
one is
let
deep.
let everyone know. I want to prepare you. This is Sunday morning. If it's cold in the room where you're at, the temperature's going to come up. If you do not happen to imagine,
Uh,
it's time to open up your imagination. And if you have a heart that longs to be loved, if you have a soul that hasn't been touched, these words are going to do something to you. Tell me something, Denise.
okay, let me see if I
Tell
can
us a little
read this
something.
one. Okay. This morning you crossed my mind. I woke up reminiscing on the times I had you close, the times that our bodies were one, the times I felt wanted and safe. I closed my eyes and all I could feel was your hands all over me, caressing my trembling body that just craved you, that just wanted more. The hair pulling, the sweat dripping down my back gave me some kind of pleasure. This morning you crossed my mind. My body reacted with just the thought of you, something I still can't control. And then I remember why you were not there here with me. I remember that time is not on my side. Time is something you don't have. Your world is so different from mine. Your world is full of long days and late nights, things I can't compete with. The world is so foreign. Your world is so foreign to me. It's a mystery. This morning, you crossed my mind, and all I could wish was for you to be next to me. You see, when I read this, I'm like, oh, it's bringing me back.
All right. It's not making you bad. They say if loving you is wrong. I don't want to be right. If being right means
Yeah.
being without you, I'd rather be wrong doing right. I'm going to tell you, Taylor Swift got a copy of this book. That song would be one of the top 10 hits right there. Denise, I want to thank you for allowing us to showcase you. You have been a
Thank
loyal
you
and
for giving me
trusted.
the chance.
Oh,
I
no
haven't
problem.
even looked at this in a while, so I'm like, yesterday I was looking, I'm like, which one I'm gonna read?
Yeah, believe it or not, Denise, I look at your book all the time. I read because I won't say envy because that's not a positive adjective, but I am proud that you put these words on here. I mean, every author tells a little piece or leaves a little piece on every single page of their soul. This is a gift, and you are a gift to this world. And more people should go to Barnes and Noble, go to Amazon.com, and pick up your copy of how do you pronounce your name outside of Denise? Dina?
Dennis Foams, but it's Denise dos Santos Neves Lopes. That's all my
Okay.
names. In Cambridge, you have to write all the names. Lopes is still my married name. I didn't take it out because both of my kids had it. And I didn't have money when I was getting divorced to change everything. So I said I would change it when I get married again. But Neves, Dos Santos is from my mom. Neves is from my dad. Because in Cape Verde, you have to put your mom and your dad's name.
All right. Well, that's Healing Through Poetry on Amazon.com and probably on Kobo and some other networks. So hopefully we didn't offend any employer by the comments that we made. And I will say this, in the event that you are offended by something was said, I would say check yourself because, sometimes your critics are not always wrong. Sometimes your critics are right. And if you're not handling your business or treating your employees other than assets, they become liabilities because, believe it or not, every human being has a mind that has the ability to have independent thought. And every human being wants an opportunity to have the life that you have when you're an employer. So everyone has a dream. All right. Don't stifle that dream. Encourage it. And believe it or not, a lot of times, if you encourage and promote and validate and acknowledge that your employees have value, LinkedIn wouldn't even exist if we felt that way. So with that said, we meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is all about quotes and the interpretation, and sometimes we go off track a little bit and we become human beings. We have a lot of people that are on this platform that are stars in their own right, that we have to share their stories. No one can do this one thing we call life alone. And collaboration is king. If we don't promote each other, then we're standing on the other person's dream. So let's go ahead and keep the dream alive. Let's bring it together. DEI starts with you. So if you want something to change, you got to be the change you want. And I'm going to say this again because Denise wrote this book. You want your children to be that change. And so with that said, we meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. My grandfather said, when you get to a place in life, you can help someone else out. He said, it's your duty to do so. He said, reach one, teach one. And Denise, I'm going to allow you to say this. And we do what?
Fade to black.
And we fade to black and we're out. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Yay. Yay.